Have you felt a sense of loss that weighs on your heart tonight? I'm Matthew Johnson. Tonight we rest in the powerful truth that God will restore what was taken away. Joel 2:25 says, "I will restore to you the years that the swarming locust has eaten." Let us begin. God is restoring every loss in my life tonight. I receive His healing and restoration now. God's love brings new beginnings to my heart. I rest in the promise of His restoration. His peace fills the spaces left empty before. I am calm because God rebuilds what was lost. God's grace renews my spirit completely tonight. I am safe in His faithful and loving care. His blessings overflow in place of every loss. I am hopeful because God restores all things. God's power works mightily in my life now. I rest fully in His perfect and loving plan. His peace calms my heart and lifts my spirit. I am confident in God's promise of restoration. God's love surrounds me with healing and hope. I am peaceful because God makes all things new. His care renews every broken part of me. I rest deeply, knowing God restores my soul. God's blessings fill my life with joy and peace. I am calm and steady in His faithful hands. His love fills me with hope and courage tonight. I am safe because God holds my future. God's presence brings healing and comfort tonight. I am grateful for God's faithful and loving care. His peace flows gently through every part of me. I am wrapped in deep love by God. I trust that loss is not the final chapter of my story. God's restoration does not arrange what happened. It builds something new alongside it. I welcome healing that honors what was lost, not just moves past it. His care does not rush me toward feeling better before I am ready. I am allowed to grieve and still believe restoration is coming. God's love meets emptiness with presence, not pressure to fill it quickly. I release needing to feel whole again by a certain date. His grace holds space for both what I have lost and what may still come. I trust that restoration can take a different shape than I expect. God's care does not need my loss to make sense for restoration to begin. I welcome new beginnings, even ones I did not ask for. His love does not measure restoration by how quickly it arrives. I trust that slow restoration is still real restoration. God's presence fills spaces that have felt empty for a long time. I welcome that presence even before I feel fully ready for it. His grace does not require me to pretend the loss did not hurt. I trust honesty about pain and hope for restoration can coexist. God's love rebuilds gently, not by force. I release trying to force my own healing to move faster. His care meets years that felt wasted with patient attention now. I trust nothing about those years is beyond his reach. God's presence does not need my full understanding of the loss to work. I trust him with the parts of my story I still cannot explain. His love turns emptiness into ground where something new can grow. I welcome that growth, even if it looks different than before. God's grace is patient, with a heart still learning to hope again. I trust that learning is allowed to take time. His care reaches losses I have not fully named out loud yet. I welcome naming them honestly, even just to him tonight. God's love does not need me to move on quickly to still be near. I trust he is near, regardless of how long moving on takes. His presence fills the quiet after loss with something more than silence. I welcome that presence in the quiet tonight. God's grace does not compare my loss to anyone else's. I release comparing my grief to what others have been through. His love meets bitterness honestly, the way it met a grieving widow long ago. I trust my own honest bitterness is welcome in His presence too. God's care restores in ways I may not recognize right away. I welcome restoration even before I can fully see its shape. His grace does not need the old thing back to still call it restoration. I trust something new can still count as being restored. God's love reaches the years that felt stolen by circumstances I did not choose. I trust those years are not beyond His ability to redeem. His presence does not abandon me in the empty in-between season. I trust He is fully present in this in-between too. God's grace lets restoration begin quietly, long before it becomes visible. I welcome that quiet beginning, even if I cannot see it yet. His love is steady enough to hold my whole story of loss and hope tonight. I rest completely, trusting that steady love right now. I notice small signs that something is being rebuilt in me. God's grace has quietly touched more of my healing than I credit. I trust that even slow seasons are still part of restoration. His care is patient with how long rebuilding actually takes. I welcome tonight as another small step toward wholeness. God's love includes rest as part of restoration, not a delay from it. I am hopeful that this season is healing me well. His grace has restored people through harder losses than mine before. I trust that same restoring grace is at work in my own life too. God's care did not end with a season of grief. I trust the next season is already quietly forming. His love has been rebuilding things in me I have not yet noticed. I welcome noticing them. Slowly, over time, instead of all at once. Grace includes today. Even if today felt like nothing had changed. I trust nothing changing outwardly does not mean nothing is happening. His care reaches into places I have not let anyone else see yet. I welcome him into those hidden places without needing to explain first. God's love does not skip people whose loss feels too complicated to name simply. I trust my own complicated loss is not too complicated for him. His grace is steady enough to outlast a discouraging stretch of grief. I trust discouragement does not get the final word over my healing. God's care for me includes restoration I have not finished receiving yet. I welcome unfinished restoration as still part of moving forward. His love has a future in mind for parts of me I thought were gone for good. I trust those parts of me are not gone for good either. God's grace does not require me to know exactly what restoration will look like. I release needing the final picture and trust the next step instead. His care has carried others through longer seasons of loss than mine. I trust that same care is carrying me the same way. God's love let quiet years become the exact soil where restoration grew before. I trust my own quiet years could be that same kind of soil. His grace includes seasons where I rebuild slowly, without fanfare. I welcome rebuilding quietly, trusting the outcome to him. God's care is not measured only by how quickly things improve. I trust steady healing over quick, dramatic fixes. His love has room for a restoration that unfolds slower than I hoped. I welcome that slower unfolding as still good. God's grace has never once required perfect timing on my part. I trust grace covers my own imperfect healing process too. His care is trustworthy enough to hold my whole story of loss and hope together. I rest completely in that steady, trustworthy care tonight. I trust that today's small step counts more than it feels like. God's grace is present in the ordinary parts of this healing too. I rest, releasing the pressure to feel restored tonight. His care is not rushed by my own impatience with the process. I welcome patience as part of trusting restoration fully. God's love has never once wasted a season of rebuilding. I trust this season is shaping something I cannot yet see. His grace is present even on the days that felt like nothing changed. I am hopeful that stillness is not the same as being stuck. God's care is quietly preparing tomorrow while I rest tonight. I trust tomorrow more because of who is preparing it. His love has room for both my grief and my hope tonight. I bring both honestly to Him as I close my eyes. God's grace lets today's unfinished healing stay unfinished until morning. I release the pressure to have healed fully by now. His care meets me exactly where my healing currently stands. I welcome that exact meeting place tonight. Without needing to be further along. God's love does not need my restoration to be finished to still be real tonight. I trust it is already real, even mid-process. I trust that small comfort tonight still counts as real restoration beginning. God's grace does not need my loss to be dramatic to notice it. I welcome quiet relief instead of waiting for a bigger breakthrough. His care reaches ordinary disappointment, not just extraordinary tragedy. I trust my own quiet losses matter to Him just as much. God's love meets me even on a night that feels unremarkable. I welcome healing tonight without needing a special reason for it. His grace settles over the small, quiet grief of an ordinary season. I release needing my loss to be significant enough to deserve restoration. God's care gives restoration freely, not as something I have to earn. I receive that restoration freely, exactly as it is offered tonight. His love is the last thing I want to feel before I sleep. I rest, trusting His care with every part of what I have lost. I trust that tonight's rest is part of tomorrow's restoration too. God's grace is gentle enough for a heart that is still grieving. I welcome sleep as an act of trust in a process I cannot rush. His love holds my whole story of loss steady while I rest. I am grateful for restoration I cannot yet fully see. God's care meets me gently in the space between loss and healing. I trust that space is not empty, even when it feels that way. Tonight, I want to tell you about a woman who lost everything and got far more back. Naomi left Bethlehem during a famine with her husband and their 2 sons. They settled in Moab, and both sons grew up and married local women, Orpah and Ruth. Then, over the following years, Naomi's husband died. And then, one by one, both of her sons died too. In a single decade, she lost her husband, both children, and any grandchildren she might have had. She decided to return home to Bethlehem and told her daughters-in-law to go back to their own families. Ruth refused to leave her side, saying, "Where you go, I will go." When Naomi arrived back in her hometown, the women there could hardly recognize her. "Don't call me Naomi," which means pleasant, she told them. "Call me Mara," which means bitter. "I went away full," she said, "but the Lord has brought me back empty." That is not a woman putting on a brave face. That is real, honest grief. But her story did not end in that bitterness. Ruth began gathering leftover grain in the fields to survive, and found favor with a man named Boaz. Boaz was a relative of Naomi's late husband, kind, honorable, and willing to help. In time, Boaz married Ruth. Restoring the family line Naomi believed was over. They had a son, and the women of the town came to Naomi with something remarkable to say. "Praise be to the Lord," they said. "He has not left you without a family to care for you." Naomi took the child, held him close, and cared for him as her very own. The women declared, "Naomi has a son." That son, Obed, became the grandfather of King David himself. The years the loss had taken, 10 years of grief and emptiness, were not simply replaced. They were restored into something greater than what had been lost in the first place. Naomi never got her husband or her sons back. That loss stayed real. But emptiness was not the end of her story. And it does not have to be the end of yours either. Whatever years feel like they were eaten away in your own life, He is not finished writing yet. Restoration rarely looks like the exact same thing returning. It often looks like something new. The same God who gave Naomi back far more than she thought possible is not smaller tonight. God's care surrounds me with warmth and peace. I rest fully in His perfect and loving embrace. His blessings fill my heart with quiet joy tonight. I am strong because God restores my strength. God's love uplifts me through every challenge. I rest quietly in the hope God gives. His peace fills me with courage and joy tonight. I am calm and confident in God's plans. His care renews my spirit and fills me with hope. I sleep soundly, knowing God is near. God's blessings are fresh and new every day. I rest in the faithfulness of His promises. His love strengthens me with every breath. I am filled with gratitude for God's care. God's grace lifts me above every challenge tonight. I am peaceful as I trust in His power. His presence brings light to my darkest moments. I rest fully in God's perfect and loving plan. God's peace fills me with calm and joy. I am steadily supported by God tonight. His love holds me safe through every moment. I sleep peacefully, knowing God watches over me. God's care surrounds me with peace and love. I rest deeply in the faithfulness of His love. His peace fills my heart with quiet joy tonight. I am held in God's steady love. I trust that my own emptiness is not the end of my story either. God's grace let a decade of loss become the doorway to something greater later. I welcome that same doorway opening in my own hard season, in time. His care did not ask Naomi to pretend she was not bitter. I trust I do not need to pretend my own bitterness away either. God's love let honest grief be spoken by name, Mara, and still led to restoration. I trust my own honest grief can still lead toward restoration too. His grace did not require Naomi to have hope before restoration could begin. I trust restoration can begin in me even before I feel hopeful. God's care used loyalty and ordinary kindness to rebuild what tragedy had taken. I trust ordinary kindness could be part of rebuilding my own life too. His love let a foreign daughter-in-law become the very means of restoration. I trust restoration can come through people or paths I did not expect. God's grace let Naomi return with nothing and still not remain empty for long. I trust returning with nothing is not the final word on my own story either. His care let a field of leftover grain become the beginning of a new family. I trust small, ordinary beginnings can lead somewhere significant in my life too. God's love reached a widow who had told everyone to stop hoping for her. I trust He reaches me even when I have told myself to stop hoping too. His grace let the community that once pitied Naomi later celebrate with her instead. I trust my own story can move from pity towards celebration too in time. God's care let restoration come through a grandchild she never expected to hold. I welcome unexpected forms of restoration in my own life too. His love let a bitter woman become known instead for the family she helped raise. I trust my own identity is not fixed by my hardest season either. God's grace let Naomi's story become part of the lineage of a future king. I trust my own story could be part of something larger than I can currently see. His care restored more than what was lost, not merely a replacement for it. I trust my own restoration could exceed what I imagine possible right now. God's love let years that felt wasted become the very ones that mattered most later. I trust my own hard years are not wasted either, even if they feel that way now. His grace turned a woman's emptiness into a testimony still read today. I trust my own testimony is still being written, even in the empty parts. God's care is the same steady care, whether the story is Naomi's or mine. I rest completely trusting that same steady restoration happening in me right now. I am not too empty for God's restoration to reach me either. God's grace let Naomi's loyalty to Ruth's loyalty become the thread that rebuilt her whole family. I trust small threads of faithfulness in my own light are building something too. His care did not need Naomi to understand the plan before it started working. I trust I do not need to understand the plan for it to be working in me too. God's love let a foreign woman's devotion outlast every reasonable expectation. I trust devotion and loyalty in my own life can outlast expectation too. His grace let Boaz's simple kindness in a field become part of a much bigger story. I trust simple kindnesses shown to me could be part of a bigger story too. God's care let Naomi instruct and guide even while she was still grieving herself. I trust I can still offer and receive love, even while I am still healing too. His love let restoration arrive through relationship, not through circumstances changing on their own. I welcome restoration arriving through relationship in my own life too. God's grace let a redeemer, a family protector, step forward when Naomi had no one left. I trust a way forward can appear for me too, even when I feel I have no one. His care did not rush the timeline between Naomi's return and Obed's birth. I trust my own timeline is not being rushed carelessly either. God's love let the women of the town become witnesses to Naomi's restoration, not just her loss. I trust the people around me can become witnesses to my restoration too, in time. His grace let a childless widow become someone future generations trace their lineage through. I trust my own story could matter to people who come after me too. God's care reached Naomi specifically in her most defining title of loss, empty. I trust He reaches me in whatever word best describes my own emptiness tonight. His love let a woman who renamed herself bitter be renamed by joy later instead. I trust my own hardest self-description does not have to be permanent either. God's grace let restoration include being held, literally placing a grandchild in her arms. I welcome restoration that is tangible and felt, not only abstract, in my own life too. His care let a story that began in famine end in provision and celebration. I trust my own story that began in lack can end in provision too. God's love reached Naomi through the very daughter-in-law she once told to leave. I trust restoration can come through people I never expected to be part of it. His grace let 10 hard years be answered by a legacy lasting generations. I trust my own hard years could be answered by something lasting too. God's grace let a widow's honest lament, calling herself bitter, still be recorded with dignity. I trust my own honest lament is recorded with that same dignity in His eyes. His care met 2 grieving widows walking the same road and provided for both. I trust I am not the only one He is providing for even now, and that is not a lesser thing. God's love let Ruth's choice to stay become one of Scripture's clearest pictures of loyal love. I trust loyal love shown to me or by me matters just as much in my own story. His grace let a gleaning field, a place of leftover scraps, become the site of provision. I trust leftover, overlooked places in my own life can become sites of provision too. God's care, let kindness shown to a foreigner ripple into consequences lasting generations. I trust small kindnesses in my own life could ripple further than I can see. His love let Naomi's wisdom guide Ruth even while Naomi herself was still rebuilding. I trust I can still be useful to others even while my own restoration is unfinished. God's grace let restoration come through patience, not through Naomi forcing an outcome. I release forcing outcomes and trust patience with my own restoration instead. His care let a story of scarcity, famine, death, and emptiness end in abundance. I trust my own story of scarcity can end in abundance too, in His timing. God's love let Naomi's neighbors become part of celebrating what she once grieved. I trust my own community can become part of celebrating my restoration too someday. His grace turned a woman known for what she lost into a woman known for who she raised. I trust I can become known for more than my hardest chapter too. God's care let a lineage nearly lost become the very lineage of Israel's greatest king. I trust what feels nearly lost in my own life is not beyond His ability to restore. His love reached Naomi fully in Moab, fully on the road home, and fully in Bethlehem. I trust He reaches me fully in every stage of my own journey, too. God's grace let a bitter homecoming become, in time, a joyful one instead. I trust my own hard homecoming, whatever shape that takes, can become joyful too. His care did not skip Naomi's mourning to get to the celebration faster. I trust my own mourning is not being skipped either, only honored first. God's love let restoration be personal, specific, and exactly suited to what she had lost. I trust my own restoration will be personal and specific to what I have lost too. His grace let the women declare, Naomi has a son, giving her back what she named as gone. I trust He can give me back, in some form, what I have named as gone too. God's care let an elderly woman become a nurse and caretaker again, unexpectedly renewed. I trust unexpected renewal is still possible for me too, whatever my season. His love let a story that started with 3 funerals end with a birth celebrated by a whole town. I trust my own story can move from grief toward genuine celebration too, in time. God's grace let Ruth's foreignness become part of the story's beauty, not a barrier to it. I trust whatever feels like a barrier in my own story could become part of its beauty too. His care reached a family line that human logic would have called finished. I trust nothing in my own life is finished simply because it looks that way right now. God's love let the smallest, most ordinary act, gleaning grain, set an entire restoration in motion. I trust the smallest, most ordinary parts of my own life could be setting something in motion too. His grace let restoration take root in Bethlehem, the very house of bread, after a famine had emptied it. I trust the very place my own emptiness happened can become the place restoration takes root too. God's care let Naomi's story become part of the genealogy leading all the way to Jesus. I trust my own small story is not too small to be part of something that lasting either. His love reached a woman who had stopped expecting good news and gave it to her anyway. I trust good news can reach me too, even if I have stopped expecting it. God's grace let restoration arrive quietly through a normal season of harvest, not through a dramatic sign. I trust my own restoration may arrive quietly too, through something ordinary rather than dramatic. His care let a woman who once said the Lord's hand had turned against her later say the Lord's hand had provided. I trust my own understanding of His hand can shift the same way in time. God's love turned Naomi's returning empty into a homecoming still remembered for its fullness. I trust my own emptiness is not the final word on how my story will be remembered. His grace is the same grace tonight that met a bitter widow on the road to Bethlehem. I rest completely, trusting that same grace meeting me on my own road tonight. God's care let Naomi hold in her arms the very thing grief had convinced her she would never have. I trust I may yet hold, in some form, what grief has convinced me is impossible too. His love did not need Naomi's story to be simple to still be redemptive. I trust my own complicated story can still be redemptive too. God's grace let famine, death, foreign land, and grief all become part of a story that ends in blessing. I trust every hard part of my own story can become part of a larger blessing too. His care restored Naomi not despite her honesty about her pain, but alongside it. I trust my own honesty about pain is not working against my restoration either. God's love is patient enough to walk the whole distance from Mara back to joy with me too. I sleep now, trusting that patient love completely, tonight and always. Before we close, let's turn what we have felt tonight into a simple prayer. Father God, thank you for restoring what feels lost in your own timing. Thank you for meeting my grief honestly instead of asking me to hide it. I bring you the losses I have been carrying quietly. I bring you the years that feel like they were taken from me. Help me trust that restoration does not require me to forget what happened. Help me hold both grief and hope honestly, without choosing only one. Thank you for meeting me the way you met Naomi on the road home. Thank you for not rushing past my bitterness to get to a happier ending. Remind me that emptiness is not the final word over my story. Remind me that restoration can look different than what I lost and still be real. Give me patience for a healing process I cannot rush. Give me peace about the parts of my story I cannot yet explain. Thank you for a faithfulness that has restored far harder losses than mine before. Thank you for offering that same faithfulness to me tonight. Watch over anyone tonight who feels like they returned home empty. Watch over anyone grieving years that feel like they were eaten away. Let them know restoration is being written into their story too. Thank you for meeting me honestly in the middle of my own loss. Thank you for a peace that does not require my healing to be finished first. I release my need to see the whole picture of restoration tonight. I release my own timeline and receive yours instead. Thank you for letting restoration grow through ordinary kindness and quiet faithfulness. Thank you for using small, unremarkable moments to rebuild what felt broken. Help me notice small mercies I have been too grieved to see. Help me trust that healing can happen quietly, without effort on my part. Thank you for rest that restores more than it seems capable of. Thank you for peace that does not require my story to be resolved yet. Let your presence be the last thing I feel before I sleep. Let your faithfulness be the first thing I notice tomorrow. Thank you for never once giving up on restoring what was lost. Thank you for a love that meets emptiness with patient, persistent care. I trust you with the years I cannot get back. I trust you with the timing of my own restoration. Thank you for meeting my grief with steady, patient love. Thank you for meeting my hope with a faithfulness that has already proven itself true. Thank you for a peace that meets me exactly where this loss has me tonight. Thank you for patience with how long restoration sometimes takes. Help me see today's small comfort as enough for now. Help me trust that quiet nights still count toward healing. Thank you for a restoring love that has rebuilt lives far more broken than mine before. Thank you for offering that same restoring love to me tonight. Give me rest that is not anxious about tomorrow, just present and simple. Give me a heart willing to hope again, even cautiously. Thank you for holding my whole story, the empty parts and the restored ones. Thank you for holding everyone I love who is also grieving a loss tonight. Let your peace settle over this entire night. Let your faithfulness stay steady, no matter how tonight feels. Thank you for a love that restored a bitter widow's whole life long ago. Thank you for promising to do the same in your own way for me. I lay down tonight's grief and pick up your peace instead. I trust you completely with tonight, tomorrow, and however long restoration takes. Thank you for meeting me here in this exact grieving moment. Thank you for a restoration that does not need dramatic proof to be real. Help me wake tomorrow trusting your restoration a little more than I did today. Help me carry tonight's peace into whatever this season still asks of me. Thank you for the restoration you are already writing into my story, even unseen. I rest now, hopeful and completely at peace. Thank you for a faithfulness that has already been at work in me before I noticed it. Thank you for a peace that lets me sleep without needing my healing finished first. Thank you for meeting my grieving heart exactly where it is tonight. Amen.